StrateJacket, thank you so much for being on my Mod Rock Jam podcast.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
And you guys are my second Bay Area band to be on my podcast for this year. Last month, I interviewed this synthwave band called Overgrown. Not sure if you guys heard of them before.
Have we heard of
Mm,
Overgrown? It doesn't sound
I don't think
familiar.
so.
no.
They just opened for Kasabian at the Regency Ballroom,
Oh
and
shit, really?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
sick.
And I had no
That's
idea
sick.
that they were a Bay Area band. I started doing my research. So I definitely need to do more local plugins for my podcast. And I was doing a deep dive on your social media. I noticed you guys were called New Manhattan and then changed your name to StrateJacket. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were called New Manhattan for like, I don't know, maybe 9 months or so before.
Yeah.
Because of the Phil's drink, right?
Yeah, it was based on a coffee drink that we never actually got. We just thought the name was cool.
We had a friend like, oh, how about that one? And we're like, yeah, why not? Sure. No, it wasn't even our favorite drink either, dude. It was like, I don't know.
I know you guys formed during the pandemic, and I'm bringing this up from the press release that I was reading, and you honed your sound and created this like 90s nostalgic style, and then you got the attention of Canadian producer Brian Howes, who's behind Hinder, Daltrey, Boys Like Girls, as well as Grammy-winning Chris Lord Alge, and he's done the mixing for Green Day, Muse, and Prince. When you two met these guys, was it very overwhelming?
For me personally, Brian just seemed like a friend that I've known forever when we first started working with him. Like he was so enthusiastic and he was such a funny guy. And he made that whole album process really fun to do. We were a long way from home, and he kind of made us feel like we weren't. You know what I mean? And he always made sure we were having a good time. So I don't know if I was overwhelmed with Brian. We didn't really. We met Crystal Algae on a Zoom call, um, and he's like such a personality too. He was a really nice guy as well, and I had known about Chris Lord Algae for a long time because he mixed like my favorite albums and stuff. So I knew who he was, and he was really cool. So it really wasn't too bad for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think with Brian, it's the only like part that like was kind of overwhelming was when we got to Canada, we went to Armory Studios, and that was like the first time we were like going to do something this big, create this album. And yeah, no, once we met Brian, dude, it was like Jack said, it was like a longtime friend that I just met for the first time. It was really cool. He made the whole vibe so like stress free. Like I don't think I was really stressed at all. Like we were there to do our parts, and even like the crew that helped us out. Like we all felt like family, in that one room. And working with him was so inspiring too. Watching a producer like just throw these ideas in the air and just adding like more colors to the song that you didn't know could exist. It's it's like inspiring. It's definitely inspiring. It was cool.
He's like the fourth member of the group.
Yeah, legit for
Yeah.
sure.
And he said wonderful things about each one of you because I watched a video of him. So that's like a huge compliment, especially with all these bigger bands that he's worked with. And I talked about Green Day, and they just played a sold out show at the Fillmore, and they're going to be playing with the Smashing Pumpkins in San Francisco. Have you seen Green Day before?
I saw them when I was like 13, I think, at the Berkeley Coliseum. Me and my dad waited like 5 hours in line because it was like general admission tickets. So I made my dad wait 5 hours with me in line to like get in the mosh pit, and I didn't even know what a mosh pit was when I showed up there as like a 12-year-old boy. So I was like short too, so I was kind of scared during the actual show, but I was kind of just lost in it. So I've seen them twice now. I also saw them at Oracle Park when they were I think they were touring Father of their Father of All record a couple of years ago, and that got put on hold because of the pandemic. So that's when I saw them. Fabian, have you seen them too?
Yeah, I think 2016 might have been 15. 105.3, they have their Not So Silent Night Music Festival, and they had Bastille, Head and Heart, and headlining was Green Day, and I think the day before was Blink 182. And dude, it was so cool because that was the first time like I ever felt like, you know, when you're like watching like a big punk band or rock band, and then like kind of the crowd just swoops you, and then like at one point my feet weren't even touching the ground, and it was just moving my body like the whole way. And there was a moment where I was like about 10 feet away from Billy, and I swear to God, I could have like reached for his guitar. It was an awesome moment. Nate, I think you have, right?
Yeah, I saw him, I think, at Oakland Arena, but I was all the way in the back, and Catfish in the Bottlemen opened up for them.
That's sick.
That's
So that
so
was
sick,
cool.
dude.
I was at that concert, and be lucky that you were in the back, because um I was like waiting hours in line. You know, the point where you're like, I may pass out from dehydration, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I made it to the front, and then everyone was just like pushing and shoving, and all of a sudden my hair looked like a fro. And then
Yeah.
this one girl next to me, Billy Joe, picked her to come up on stage and like
Oh,
play
What?
the
yeah.
guitar, and
Oh,
she got
that's
a
so
free
sick.
guitar. I was like, are you serious?
Oh man, you were
Damn, you
one
were
person
there?
away.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how I was able to survive and, be interviewing you guys to this very day. But speaking of 90s, I just checked on Instagram. You guys are opening up for the Offspring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
nuts.
we
So
just
nuts.
got the flyer today, and they were like, "You got to post it." And so that was some crazy news. We found out maybe a month ago now, right, or so, that we were playing with
Yeah.
them, which is surreal. Um, just, I mean, they're one of my favorites too. Growing up, I found them a little bit later than I found Green Day, but they kind of sucked me in as well.
Yeah, like that track Self Esteem, like that was like a bass line that just always like got me, the da 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 do 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 do. And hearing that we were gonna open for them, it was one of those things where it's like, how do I react? How much can I freak out? How little can I freak out? Like you're just kind of like that standing guy emoji, like what?
Yeah, it's something that we would have joked about like even like 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what would that be like?
Well, because I watched an interview of you guys, and you guys were saying how you wish to open up for someone like really big. And like, were they on like the list? Like, who was on that ideal list?
Blink 182 or like Story So Far or something. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. You probably said Green Day, I think. Offspring
Probably.
might have been in there. Offspring, maybe.
I don't know if there was exactly meant like a list I had in mind of bands that I considered big enough, but if I made one, Sum 41 and Offspring would definitely be on that list. So yeah, it's a dream come true. I have no idea what that's gonna be like compared to the shows like Thrill House Records. Like obviously, like that's gonna be entirely different than that show. But I just hope that we're able to play it the same kind of way and just be intimate with it and not like take it seriously, but not take it too seriously, because it's rock and roll. Like,
And you guys have to convince Sum 41 to extend their second farewell tour, because I saw them at the Masonic.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if you guys get to join them on stage. And okay, so I have a grudge right now with the Offspring
Why?
because I'll tell you. So I went to see them in Fresno, and I was in VIP, and I was like front row, and I was really close. And the bassist did not give me his bass pick. If you guys, when you go to Nebraska, tell him that I was at the Fresno Fair and he did not give me a bass pick, and he was like throwing them like they were like stripper dollars. But I didn't.
Be like, this
did
is
you
for sale.
did you like ask him directly if you could have one and he said no, or was it just
No,
like
no, but I was just like, like giving him the eye, like, yeah.
oh
Damn.
no, Fabian will
Anyway,
definitely give you his pick.
okay.
Yeah.
And you guys are having a really good year too, because you also got booked for Rockville Festival in Florida, as well as Aftershock. How did that happen?
We kind of just got emails from our management team that we were playing these shows, and we found out about Rockville like when, like September last year, maybe October.
Yeah, like late last year for sure. Was
And ever since we've been like really stoked for it, and getting to play in front of a crowd like that, especially somewhere far away from home and to a different audience in a different state, like it's always a little, I think it's gonna hit me a little harder when I'm there, because even when we were playing in like Texas, like it feels like you're playing to different people, because they are different people. They're not a Bay Area audience. They're a Texas audience, and that doesn't change how they react to the music, but it just internally, it's like, how are they going to react to this versus how people react in the Bay, where we're at home in our little scene. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it's going to hit me a little harder when I'm there.
Yeah, like every place, like I feel like people appreciate music differently. Like they like value it for sure, or like they appreciate it, but like certain places value it differently, you know. And so like yeah, like Jack was saying, like playing in Florida is gonna be like a for me. I feel like it's gonna be freeing. You know, it's like I like we practiced so many times, and now like we're on this stage so far away from home that like I don't know. I feel like I could do whatever I want.
And you know what's going to hit you is going to be the heat first.
Oh,
Definitely.
Probably.
And also like really like network, be friends with Bad Omens so they could take you on tour.
dude, I want Basis's bass, dude. That guy's awesome.
Know that you guys have also played at the Viper Room, and the last time I was there, I was underage, so I was not allowed to go inside, but I took a picture outside, and I'm planning to go to SoCal this August, and this time, because I'm old enough, I will be indoors. But can you tell me, because I overheard you guys saying it's really small, like compared to a Bay Area venue, which is the closest resemblance of that venue?
Yeah, I'm thinking bottom of the hill.
Uh, the Viper Room is really small. Like I didn't expect it to be so small. It's like it's such an intimate venue, and I love how it's a small room, and they have like these giant amplifiers for you to just blow people's ears out with. Um, the Knockout,
I
maybe.
was just
I
about to
would
say
even say Gilman is pretty, maybe a little bit similar vibe wise.
we played at this place in San Francisco called the Milk Bar, and then that was like the very beginning, and then we went to other like bigger venues, Knockout and Bottom of the Hill, and Bottom of the Hill was the first time where I'm like, I'm a rock star. Fuck yeah.
There's a lot of history of Bottom of the Hill. Like a lot of smaller bands have blown up, and then you're like, oh my gosh, now they're when you're playing at stadiums and arenas, and they all started, playing at Bottom of the Hill. And do you remember this was years ago, but it went viral, like this rock band or this punk band playing at a Denny's and they thrashed it.
What
You
the
guys,
fuck?
that's the next play. Denny's or a Waffle House.
Yo, Waffle House is
Waffle
crazy,
House.
bro. They probably kicked our ass.
That'll be the ultimate like best video game ever.
That'd be
The
sick.
cool thing about Bottom of the Hill is like it's like not it doesn't even matter how big a band gets, like they'll always like come back there and play it every once in a while. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure, Nate, you told me about Third Eye Blind playing there like relatively recently. I can't remember. But like
Yeah.
big bands will like still come there and play. It's totally cool.
Yeah, well, definitely giving back to the community, whether they're from like the Bay Area or not. But yeah, definitely Third Eye Blind. They're hometown homies. And you guys are dropping a music video as well?
We are working on a music video, but it's pretty early in the stages of being made. But we're really excited about it. We have this fantastic idea, so I'm stoked for it to come to fruition. Um, it's going to be really cool because we've got a bunch of our just friends and some other bands that are going to be a part of it. So I'm pretty stoked for it.
Nice. So I know you guys are with Edge Out Records, and I think I read, Jackson, you have like a film background. Do you feel that you kind of share your expertise when it comes to creating the music video, or you kind of let the label do their thing?
I just liked movies. I went to college for a little bit for film for like a second. Um, uh, but I like to be kind of, I think all three of us like to be hands-on with our music videos. Like we did all the other ones like by ourselves pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't know. That's just like a fun aspect of making music and getting to make those. So I think I will be pretty hands-on with it, but the people who are also working with it are also film majors, so I'm just gonna like trust them too. You know what I mean? Because I think they've been a part of the film community longer than I have. So
Well, I'm looking
uh,
forward to when it finally drops. And I also got to listen to your self-titled EP. Very impressive. Let's talk about a song I really like. It's Living a Lie. Where was the headspace when you guys were writing that?
I don't know. I was at a point where I was thinking about me not really showing who I was, I guess, not really being myself at times and trying to cater to other people and try to act like how I'm supposed to act in front of them instead of actually being myself. So that was the whole kind of catalyst for that, I suppose.
yeah, I mean, and the bass line too is just like pretty killer.
Yeah, Nate was the one who
Thanks,
pitched
man.
the intro bass line. Then I heard it and I was like, dude, this is awesome. So there's this cool thing we do live with that song where during the bridge is that we're playing that bass line and then like Nate does the drum thingy and then like Jackson's doing like a guitar solo thingy. So like if you ever come to our show and you hear Living a Lie, just like keep an ear out for that. You know? It's a fun time.
And earlier, Jackson, you were talking about like having work, and I know you guys are still a fresh band, like kind of in your toddler stages, but what were some challenges because all of you guys have your own like schedule, and then you're also trying to, you're booking shows, you're going to be touring, at the playing at these festivals. What are some of these challenges that you've learned to adapt to and maybe kind of advise younger bands?
Making a budget for everything
Yeah,
beforehand.
Yeah.
definitely making a budget. Um, we kind of started during the pandemic when there was nothing else to do, and like so we already were playing every day without any other responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like we had a place to practice, and we could do that alone in our little loft in Redwood City, and we just did that all the time. Like, and that's I feel like we were granted the opportunity, the rare opportunity to do nothing but play in the band, you know what I mean? For a year because that's kind of how it was. And then life picked back up again, but that didn't stop us from already being in the headspace of going to practice every other day and seeing each other all the time and making social media content and writing music and the album and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I would advise uh, just like do it, you know?
That Nike slogan, just do it.
Yeah, that's the best advice I can give. What about you guys?
I think it's important to always challenge yourself, like I feel like for me personally, like when it comes to like just playing the bass, like I'll be like, all right, this is cool. Like I can play at a pretty fast speed, like it's all in time. But then like it's like the whole concept of being comfortable limits you, like I guess what I'm trying to say is like whatever you do in the band, don't stop trying to be the best, like they'll say like be the best version of yourself. Like, no, just be the best. Just always aim to be the best and you'll be great.
My main gig is working at a news station, ABC 7 in San Francisco. So, if you guys could come up with a news headline, what would it be?
StrateJacket saves the whales at Daytona Beach.
Local Bay Area band saves rock and roll.
There we go. I'll take it. There was this movie called The Internship with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn where they become
Yeah.
Google interns. There was a question that Google asked them, and I'm gonna ask you guys this. If you guys were nickels dropped in a blender, how would you get out? What would you do?
Can I move or am I just a nickel?
You tell me. Be creative.
Is this
Oh,
some trick question?
I would
Sounds like a trick question.
the other nickels to break the blender so we all get out together.
I just chill in the blender.
Yeah, just give up.
I just give up right on the spot.
Like I'm just a nickel.
Yeah, you're like, if I was like the 50, like the JFK 50 Cent one, like that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I also heard you guys are going to be featured on Soundwaves TV.
That is for the bone, right?
Yeah, it's part of
That's
the bone.
yeah, that's crazy. The bone is, the Bay Area rock station. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love the bone,
Yeah, dude. My dad and I, whenever I would work with him back when I was like a couple years back, we would always like listen to Shasta early on the bone. Like the bone itself is like such a cool radio station. Like like it had so much influence. Like I remember, I'll never forget the first time I listened to Sultan of Swing. Like my dad and I were just driving to San Jose, and I was like, "Dad, what radio station is this? This is awesome." He's like, "Oh, 107.7 The Bone."
That was a good radio voice.
Yeah.
When you guys make it big, remember the little people. All right. Well, our time is up. So thank you so much, StrateJacket, for your time.
Thank you for your time. That was so much
Yeah,
fun.
thank you for having us.
us.